The tooth fairy is a fantasy figure of early childhood in Western and Western-influenced cultures. The folklore states that when children lose one of their baby teeth, they should place it underneath their pillow and the tooth fairy will visit while they sleep, replacing the lost tooth with a small payment. The tradition of leaving a tooth under a pillow for the tooth fairy to collect is practiced in various countries in the English-speaking world. Origins. In Northern Europe, there was a tradition of tand fee or tooth fee, which was paid when a child lost its first tooth. This tradition is recorded in writings as early as the Eddas, which are the earliest written record of Norse and Northern European traditions. The reward left varies by country, the family's economic status, amounts the child's peers report receiving and other factors. A 2013 survey by Visa Incorporated found that American children receive $3.70 per tooth on average. During the Middle Ages, other superstitions arose surrounding children's teeth. In England, for example, children were instructed to burn their baby teeth in order to save the child from hardship in the afterlife. Children who didn't consign their baby teeth to the fire would spend eternity searching for them in the afterlife. The Vikings, it is said, paid children for their teeth. In the Norse culture, children's teeth and other articles belonging to children were said to bring good luck in battle, and Scandinavian warriors hung children's teeth on a string around their necks. Fear of witches was another reason to bury or burn teeth. In medieval Europe, it was thought that if a witch were to get hold of one's teeth, it could lead to them having total power over him or her. The modern incarnation of these traditions into an actual tooth fairy has been dated to 1977, 1962, or 1927. However, there is an earlier reference to the tooth fairy in a 1908 household hints item in the Chicago Daily Tribune. Tooth fairy. Many a refractory child will allow a loose tooth to be removed if he knows about the tooth fairy. If he takes his little tooth and puts it under the pillow when he goes to bed, the tooth fairy will come in the night and take it away, and in its place will leave some little gift. It is a nice plan for mothers to visit the 5-cent counter and lay in a supply of articles to be used on such occasions. Lillian Browne. Appearance. Unlike Santa Claus and, to a lesser extent, the Easter Bunny, there are few details of the tooth fairy's appearance that are consistent in various versions of the myth. A 1984 study conducted by Rosemary Wells revealed that most, 74% of those surveyed, believed the tooth fairy to be female, while 12% believed the tooth fairy to be neither male nor female and 8% believed the tooth fairy could be either male or female. When asked about her findings regarding the tooth fairy's appearance, Wells explained, "You've got your basic Tinker Bell type tooth fairy with the wings, wand, a little older and whatnot. Then you have some people who think of the tooth fairy as a man, or a bunny rabbit or a mouse." One review of published children's books and popular artwork found the tooth fairy to also be depicted as a child with wings, a pixie, a dragon, a blue mother figure, a flying ballerina, 2 little old men, a dental hygienist, a pot-bellied flying man smoking a cigar, a bat, a bear, and others. Unlike the well-established imagining of Santa Claus, differences in renderings of the tooth fairy are not as upsetting to children. Depiction on coins and currency. Starting in 2011, the Royal Canadian Mint began selling special sets for newborn babies, birthdays, wedding anniversaries, O Canada and the Tooth Fairy. The Tooth Fairy quarters, which were only issued in 2011 and 12, were packaged separately. Belief. Belief in the Tooth Fairy is viewed in 2 very different ways. On the one hand, children believing is seen as part of the trusting nature of childhood. Conversely, belief in the tooth fairy is frequently used to label adults as being too trusting and ready to believe anything. While parents are often unsure of themselves when promoting the fiction of the tooth fairy, the majority of children report positive outcomes. Upon learning the tooth fairy is not real, 75% of children reported liking the custom, 20% were neutral and 3% were not in favor and said they did not intend to continue the practice when they became parents. Parents tend to view the myth as providing comfort for children in the loss of their tooth. Research finds that belief in the tooth fairy may provide such comfort to a child experiencing fear or pain resulting from the loss of a tooth. Mothers especially seem to value a child's belief as a sign that their baby is still a child and is not growing up too soon. By encouraging belief in a fictional character, parents allow themselves to be comforted that their child still believes in fantasy and is not yet grown up. Children often discover the tooth fairy is imaginary as part of the 5 to 7 year shift, often connecting this to other gift-bearing imaginary figures, such as Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Author Vicky Lansky advises parents to tell their children early that the tooth fairy pays a whole lot more for a perfect tooth than for a decayed one. According to Lansky, some families leave a note with the payment, praising the child for good dental habits. Research findings suggest a possible relationship between a child's continued belief in the tooth fairy, and other fictional characters, and false memory syndrome. Related myths. The Raton Cito Perez, or Raton Perez, Perez mouse in English, is a figure popular in Spanish and Hispanic American cultures, similar to the tooth fairy, originating in Madrid in 1894. As is traditional in some English-speaking countries, when a child loses a tooth it is customary for him or her to place it under the pillow, so that Raton Cito Perez will exchange it for a gift. The tradition is almost universal in Spanish cultures, but takes different forms in different areas. He is known as Raton Cito Perez in Spanish-speaking countries, with the exception of some regions of Mexico, Peru, and Chile, where he is called El Ratón de los Dientes, the tooth mouse, and in Argentina, Venezuela, Uruguay, and Colombia, he is known simply as El Ratón Perez. The Raton Cito Perez was used by Colgate marketing in Venezuela and Spain. In Italy, the tooth fairy is also often replaced by a small mouse, named Topolino. In France and in French-speaking Belgium, this character is called La Petite Souris, the little mouse. From parts of lowland Scotland comes a tradition similar to the fairy mouse, a white fairy rat who purchases children's teeth with coins. In the Basque country, and especially in Biscay, there is Mari Tia Latuco, Mary from the roof, who lives in the roof of the baserri and catches the teeth thrown by the children. In some Asian countries, such as India, China, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam, when a child loses a tooth, it is customary for him or her to throw it onto the roof if it came from the lower jaw, or into the space beneath the floor if it came from the upper jaw. While doing this, the child shouts a request for the tooth to be replaced with the tooth of a mouse. This tradition is based on the fact that the teeth of mice grow for their entire lives, a characteristic of all rodents. In some cultures in India, children bury their teeth in the soil near big trees. In Japan, a different variation calls for lost upper teeth to be thrown straight down to the ground and lower teeth straight up into the air. The idea is that incoming teeth will grow in straight. In Middle Eastern countries, including Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, and Sudan, there is a tradition of throwing a baby tooth up into the sky to the sun or to Allah. This tradition may originate in a pre-Islamic offering, and dates back to at least the 13th century. It is also mentioned by Ibn Hibat al-Hadid in the 13th century.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.